Rocco, also known as Artist Poet on PlayStation Network. So yesterday was a pretty rough day, connection-wise for the game. Um, Myself and many of the others that I play with were all complaining about how we kept getting kicked out of events and activities, not being able to complete bounties or pursuits, specifically these things here and these things here. So we got some new stuff today. I just grabbed what I could from Ava, and now we're gonna take a look and see what kind of problems I have. Defeat combatants on any destination. Raids, strikes, and quest missions do not contribute progress. Defeat combatants on any destination. Raids, strikes, and quests do not contribute. Now, this is what a quest is. So I'm imagining that anything I do that relates to any of this stuff here, this is going to be your patrols. So if we go into our triumphs, this is what I think Cactus or Fallout or Houndish, I watch them all. They kind of just blend all together, for me honest. That's not derogatory either. That just means that they give such good coverage, and a lot of times they do mirror each other's comments. So you'll find them. Anyway, there's this one here called Great Deeds. Here we go. Destinations. Okay, so destinations is all your planets. Now, there's been a lot of talk about how they might be taking away some of the patrol zones because the darkness is encroaching, and there may be planets blown up or whatever. Because Bungie is going on and on and on about the game is got so much going on in it, and they can't add anything more to it without taking stuff away. And I keep saying, dudes, just trim back the code, okay? Get in there and do some dumbing down of the textures and the animations, all the special effects. I mean, yes, it's nice and fun to see your Guardian glow a brilliant orange as you blast across the fucking landscape with your super, but you don't need all that, really. There are so many games out there that have just as much wow factor and cinematic effect that would do it with like a fifth of all the lens flare and ground shaking animations. That alone would trim down your code. And you know what I mean? I've mentioned it before. Destiny is sitting on my console at about 100 gigs right now, whereas a game like Elder Scrolls Online, which is a full-on MMORPG with all the content out on the console, I just pay ESO Plus and I unlock it. It's not like it has to download that shit. That's it. It's there. I have access. I have assets on my console that access it. And it's only 80 gigabytes on my console. Okay, Battlefront is the next highest at 90. Okay, and again, Battlefront, all the content's there. I pay a subscription fee and I access it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like right now, Destiny has. I mean, I'm not paying for Shadowkeep. I did not buy Shadowkeep. I don't really plan to. I've actually taken the approach of basically holding back by as much as a whole year before I go into content. And the reason why is that Forsaken was such a letdown. And I'm not just talking about the fact that Cade died. That was great drama. That was perfect storytelling. But the fact that the content for Forsaken was just so meh. The Black Armory is the only thing that I found in Gambit. Were the only two things that I found that were like super good. You know, well, Gambit came out I think before Forsaken. Anyway, long story short. So destinations. I'm pretty sure this is Bungie letting us know that hey, you guys do a lot of activities on the playlists, but we have all these open spaces and nobody's really going there to do anything. I always kind of do because I always find that patrols are very relaxing. It's a good way to warm up, get into a mode, get into an idea um, of what you want to take care of. So today's goals are going to be based on destinations. Um, Now let's go back to my quests and stuff. So the next medal we have, and this is what I'm pursuing for. I'm pursuing it just for the medals. The next one is bounties. Okay, so doing the daily bounties, and I found a really good way to do this. All courtesy of that Reddit user that I mentioned in a previous video. You can go take a look at that. It's still on the list, I think. And then this one is defeat opposing guardians in the Crucible. So we're back to the Crucible thing, which is fine. I've got some Crucible bounties here that I can go ahead and fulfill. A couple with some clanmates. And now I picked up another Black Armory hand cannon because, lo and behold, not only did I get the the Forge bounty completed, pretty relatively easy yesterday, but in the process of doing so, because I'm a Black Armory fan, they gifted me with yet another totally charged uh, special bounty, but this will drop Black Army weaponry or armor. So some of the armor is pretty darn nice. It's not tier 2 or tier 3. It is going to be tier 1, which means that it falls in just about 60 or 62 is which the most total stats. When I'm talking about this stuff here, as soon as it loads, they'll never be faster than me. So you look at that mobility all the way down to strength. That total is 72 with a mod, which means it's a 62. This was a tier 1, I know a tier 2 reward. So tier 1 is like is anything up to level 60, a total of 60 points. Tier 2 is like from 61, I think, to 65. And then tier 3 stuff is like, you get close to the 70s. Um, yeah, that's a 64. Actually, I think that was a tier 3, but I could be mistaken there. That was a 61. So yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna get our inventory sorted out a little bit here. This is from that last forge. This is actually a really good roll for this gun. I'm not much of a scout rifle fan at the present time because it's not meta in the season, but it's still okay to hold on to this one. I'm gonna go dump this in the vault for now, and I'll come back to it later. Actually, wait. Sorry. So yeah, yesterday was a pretty rough ride, connection-wise. I actually got a notification that they were going to do maintenance uh, on the game, and found out that that was not actually what everybody else got. My son, who has the room next door, he plays on his own console with his own account, and he told me he didn't get any such notification. So I'm kind of like, I wonder why that was. But as you can see, I've been on right now for a good 7 minutes, and not a single contention contacting Destiny servers bar has come up. So whatever maintenance they did, targeted maintenance apparently, did the trick. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm hoping this means that Bungie will be able to implement more corrections, whether they can do it from their offices or from their homes. And as I said before, when you're a tech person, I know it's more convenient to work in a pod with a studio kind of environment, but I mean, I'm a collaborative artist, which means that I do stuff with other artists at times, and with our current state of technology, it is very easy to be collaborative, far beyond the need for a common space. Yes, I still have to get my portion of the work to them in some fashion or another, but outside of that logistic, uh, you know, if you're a game developer, as long as you've got access to the assets, you have no problems. It's just a matter of, is your home connection to the studio as strong as it needs to be to make sure that nothing falls out. Uh, and it should be doable. It could really do. I mean, honestly, I think that you could probably have a global game development studio that operates all over the earth. And there are actually game studios that do this. They don't meet up in a boardroom. They Skype or whatever it is. And you can do everything pretty much from the comfort of your own front room or bedroom or wherever office you have. I mean, it works. So anyway, you notice that I'm loading up a checkpoint. This is the Shuruchi checkpoint from the Wish Wall for the raid. Now, that gold bounty that I pointed out, the destinations one, um, it's not going to count any of the combatants that I do in this because this is technically a raid. However, my gunsmith bounties will count here, shotguns and sidearms, and then my void melees, solar grenades. Let's do the solar stuff. Solar supers, solar grenades. There should be some solar. Okay, so it's just these two solar things. I should be loaded on. I should load that in right now too. Oops, I don't think it did. Yeah, I wasn't fast enough. Okay, so switch this out. Switch to this, and we've said sidearms and shotguns. Actually, do I have a shotgun with me? I didn't bring a shotgun with me. I am a naughty man. Let's go hit the Destiny Companion app real quick. Come on. I'll use this sidearm. I like this sidearm better. Alright, I've got the vault. I use a Chromebook, which is not the most powerful thing in the world, of course, but it does its thing. Unfortunately, for some reason, the companion app on the Chromebook is got... There she is. There's my beast. Alright. Let's see. We got this going on now. Do this. Probably didn't need to do that. Good, because I need grenades. Oops. Oops, missed again. This is what I'm saying. Like, sometimes it's good to be in patrols because it gives you a chance to warm up a little bit. Not everybody is frosty. Sticks is... I should probably master this, but I'm waiting for it. That's all. I've been doing that. Captains and the Knights. Alright, so let's go ahead and check on progress and see what triggered here. Get it? Triggered. It's a dad pun. My bad. So look at that. Look at that. Kinetic weapons. Shotguns going off crazy. Grenades going off crazy. Solar Supers going off crazy. Actually, it's just like, you know, it just says defeat with, yeah. And then again, the destination's gold. It's not counting because I'm in a raid technically. So now I'm just doing grenades. Oops. There we go. Brawl server. Kind of a cute way to pick up some experience too. Should be got nice grenades. can appreciate a good hand cannon, a scout rifle, and a sniper. But the hand cannon, I get a lot of utility out of it. But if I'm going to be fair, scatter projectiles, the scatter class of weapon, the rifle weapons, they're like pulse rifles, auto rifles. They're a bit more my speed, because I'm not that very accurate. You know, just to be fair. I only got 4 of them with solar supers. Huh. Must have a different spin on it. Okay, so sidearms. Oh, I still have to get kinetic weapon kills. So let's go and I'll do the breach light, and then we will rotate this one over. Let's try the 7th Seraph. Vorpal weapon might be kind of fun. No, I'm not using the White Ghost Shell for Glimmer. That's my bad. I'll deal with it later. The Glimmer. Wow. Almost endless. I love 6-shooter. Just fun. Kinetic calibration. I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet. Magic the Gathering. Most of my Magic is but there's something called Horde Magic, which came out a little bit after World of Warcraft's card game version. And basically what you do is you have a deck of tokens, token creatures of various powers and toughness, and then some spells. And Wizards of the Coast released a series of decks called Challenge decks, which are all part of the Theros storyline expansion. And there were 3 different Horde decks. And the way these decks play is that you flip over a number of cards and put them into play. It's like playing MTG Goldfish, but you actually have physical effects that are going off in the game that you have to deal with. Because the challenge decks are designed specifically for multiplayer co-op. Excuse me a second. Well, I have a variation that I play that is kind of like that, but I use actual pre-constructed decks. But anyway, the point of it is that this activity here and activities like this are a good way for you to test out your DPS. Now, in Elder Scrolls Online, we have a thing called player housing, and we have target dummies in the game where you can check your DPS, and it actually gives you a readout of how much damage you've dealt and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really test your synergies or your supports. So working, if you're playing a healer class in Elder Scrolls going up against a target dummy, that's really not going to work. This is more about knowing how much burst damage you can do, which is super important in that kind of game. Well, in Destiny, we don't have very many ways to actually test our builds without there being some kind of a cost to failure. You can go into patrols, but patrols really aren't a good measure of that. You can go into lost sectors, and they're kind of okay. Having access to instances like this one, the Shirochi instance, is a really good way to see how well you can control trash mobs. Then, of course, you also have the knights and the captains, which are elites that you can deal with. And then, of course, there's the, being able to solo instances in the raid, I think is a good thing. And having access to that is really kind of fun. Let's see, we're going to do void. Are we going to? Yeah, okay, there we go. We're going to do void stuff now. So we need void melees, which are always a pain in the ass. Void grenades. Night Stalker doing. Oh, this is the fun one. This is the tethered one. I'm going to turn this off. That's the tether one. See any other void stuff? There's Arc. There's Night Stalker, Way of the Trapper. Defeat targets disoriented by the snare bomb. Okay, so I was actual damage. So this is going to be tricky in that I'm going to need to soften up the crowd a bit and then drop the grenade on them. And that's going to be this corrosive smoke thing, because this is a snare bomb and this is a vanishing in smoke. Now it does do some damage, but again, it's not a lot. So this is the Mobius Quiver. Now, let me think. Maybe I can stack them. Let's try that out. See if that can happen. Let's do the Quiver one first, because that's always a fun one. Alright, so we got that. We're doing okay. Alright, so we go. Alright, make sure I reload. There we go. Alright, proc in the instance. Now this is a lot of timing involved with this one. You have to wait for shit to start coming down. Kill a couple of these guys, they retreat. Actually, there we go. Alright, let me just run in. Come up here. See all these dudes? Give it a second. Hit him again. Hit him again. Again. And again. Nice clean. Should have gotten one. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I died. Uh-oh. Did it not work? Pathfinder. Oh. Am I doing the Trapper one? Buggers. Oh no, Way of the Pathfinder. Huh. Why didn't it count? Oh. Maybe this is what the update is. Disabling this. As a Night Stalker, using Way of the Pathfinder, defeat groups of at least 5 tethered enemies. So, how did I mess that up? I am using the Pathfinder. Huh. Right? It's got lockdown. Mobius Quiver. This is the Pathfinder. Interesting. Well, it worked last time. It worked yesterday. I wonder if they're doing something different. Or maybe I just did it. Or maybe it's like... Oh, I think I know what it is. I shot too many bows into it. Okay. So let's do some thrall circle. Gotta wait for Shiro over here to do her thing. Alright, so there's some thrall circle. Wait for a group to come up. Maybe it's confused. Yeah, the shadow shot is not working. Chain reaction, huh? Hmm. Groups of at least 5 enemies. So maybe it's like firing one to grab the 5, and then firing on one of those guys to chain them all up. Because it's called chain reaction. Okay. Well, I might have to abandon it. Because I do want to move on. I don't want to. I don't want to dwell on this. There's the grenade kills. That's good. That's what I did. I know that. Okay. Okay. Huh. Pathfinder. Groups of 5. I'm gonna definitely have to leave the instance eventually, though, because I'll need to get more of these raid banners. Okay. Let's just wait. Come on. Ah, I see what's happening. Maybe I'm not actually shooting. I think I see what's happening. They're scattering, which is okay. I'll just have to be a little bit more cautious. Maybe set up with I got the grenades. Yeah, you see they keep looking in and out there. So that's the problem. And there's the melee. We got that fixed. But the shadow shot one's not coming up still. So figure out what I'm doing wrong. And it might be that, you know, they could have patched it. It's kind of sad, though. I don't really like the Void class. I used to say I didn't like the Arc one very much, but it was just a matter of figuring out the mechanics behind it. But this guy, Way of the Pathfinder, unless there's a typo in the bounty, because this is the Trapper, and this is the Pathfinder, and it says the Pathfinder here. So it should be okay. It might be that I'm shooting it too many times with the tether. Maybe tether them up and then lay into them with, like, you know, the weapons. Let's do a sword. You can see things better in this one. It is locked down, so it's supposed to be all 5 at once. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm not getting all 5 at once. Yeah, it's not happening at all. I'm getting no progress on it. Oh well, that's a disappointment. Okay, fair enough. Let's go switch out to something else then. So let's see, we won't do that one. Archstrider using grenades. Wait. Oh, this is just straight melees with a throwing knife? Wait, I thought I did that one already. Okay. Melees, and then Trapper uses snare bombs, so we'll... Okay, maybe that's the confusion there. Okay, so arc melees, and then arc bolt grenades. It's always so damn long to fucking move around your inventories. It's just... Okay, okay. Now we're gonna need to change that out. I always just do this. I know we could do the liar's handshake, but honestly, you don't really need it. I don't even need to reset my this. I can just do this. Actually hit anything. Okay, that's the problem with the Taken, is that you are going to end up breaking arrows. Just punch the fuck out of them until I die. The problem with the Taken is that because they spaz so quickly like that, you're tracking an enemy that's actually 20 feet left or right to either side, and it's kind of frustrating when that happens. Okay. Now, we'll go ahead and do this one. Okay. Now we got that one done, that one done. Now we're going to be doing throwing knife, and that's more singular shit. Land precision, final blows with your throwing knife. Oh, that's going to be fun. We'll do the weighted throwing knife. And we will go to the Omkara Spines, even though that procs grenades. It's still kind of fun to do. Alright, water up. Cool thing is that because I'm using ambush dodge, if I, yep, we're done. That was fun. Bizarre. Should have been more energetic. Okay, so now the next thing we do then is snare bombs. This one is hella fidgety. This is, I have to eliminate targets that are stuck in my snare bombs. So we almost got the bounties done, see? I just need one more. Technically you don't need to do these, except for the Triumph, and then of course this is the daily one that you really want to get hammered out. So, see, using the weight of the trapper, defeat targets oriented by the snare bomb. Okay, so we got that. I really want to figure out what I'm doing wrong with this, though, because it seems like I had it figured out yesterday, and I shared it with a couple of friends, and of course I shared it on the channel. You guys got to see it happen, but I really don't know why it didn't work this time. It shouldn't be any different. Maybe the void stuff is... No, it's not. That's actually working better than it did in the Lost Sectors. See, that's what I was doing normally, is I'd go to the Tangled Shore and I'd go up to the Scorn Lost Sector right on the Thief. Is it called Bay of Thieves? It's the landing spot, the initial landing spot on the Tangled Shore. So I would go there, or I'd go into Trossland and do the Widow's Court, or pretty much any place where there's like a large cluster of enemies. Now, the one is underneath the church. The Lost Sector underneath the church has a lot of enemies that are kind of bunched up towards the end. So I might go in there with my tethers and do that. See, it's all done. Okay, now we're gonna try something. Come over here. To the back of the room. See if it helps me spawn more of these bad dudes. I'm gonna do a single shot tether. There's all of them now. Now. Apparently not. Let's have to eliminate them all at once. So it's not a typo. Alright, that's done. Yeah, so it's not a typo. It definitely has to be Pathfinder, at least 5 tethered enemies in groups. Defeat groups of at least 5 tethered enemies. Huh. That is just... Yeah. Okay, so destinations don't count raids, strikes, or quest missions. So, I guess we'll go to Lost Sectors. Let's just go to the Lost Sector over here on the Tangled Shore. Yeah, Thieves Landing, that's what it is. I guess Lost Sectors count, and we still have the flashpoint. So that'll be fun. What else do I got? Let's see, I already got the gold there. Then we have to do some Crucible stuff. Well, I want to do some Crucible stuff. So, destinations, that's 75 for bronze, 500 for silver. Wait, what? See, oh, these are laurels. Okay. Now see, okay, now because I am a player of Magic the Gathering, and everything has to be about the interpretation of what's said on the card. Collect laurels on any destination. Raids, strikes, and quest missions do not contribute progress. Now, that medal is technically in a quest. It's technically a quest, and it's a mission. So by logic, from my perspective of the logic, that means it's self-defeating, which I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell happened over here. That is still bugging me. As a Night Stalker using Way of the Pathfinder, defeat groups of at least 5 tethered enemies. Groups of at least 5. So that means I need 5 or more enemies all on the same tether? Oh, maybe that's it. 1 tether, 5 guys, blow them all up. That must be it. Okay. Well... Where's the enemies? Wow, it's really quiet out here on the shore. Hey, man, I'm going to the shore. Yeah, but the important thing is it asks me how I'm getting there. Funny you should ask. I've got a bitchin' sparrow. Bitchin' sparrow, bitchin' sparrow. I ran over the dregs. Bitchin' sparrow, and I don't give a shit. I ran over some old warlock just the other day, and I didn't give a crap about what he had to say. I ran over some other titan, and I beat up his ghost. That wasn't even needed, but it gave me the most. I'm sorry. Yeah, not a rapper, dude. Oh, strikes. Burn, baby. Oh, you shot them, didn't you? Really? Okay. I like this game quite a lot, with the exception of the active competitiveness, even in an open space such as this. You know, it's tedious. That's dude underground. He's in here, the garage. I'll just do this then. You blowed up. You blowed up. Alright, let's see what happened. Guess what? It actually counts. Oh, hello. Farm. Yeah, whatever. I was hoping there'd be a public event starting here so that oh, there is. Never mind. Okay. Now we're going to check out a score. So funny because when I went out to Reddit, somebody talked about the 5 groups, or 5 or more people, 5 or more targets eliminated on one tether, and I was thinking, they were like, immediately somebody said, oh, so that's how they're going to nerf the hunters. Because, you know, that doesn't happen, dudes. Come on. Okay. Grenade fail. If I kill this big guy, the little guy is up at the top. Start up, right? Oops. 2, 3. What is that? I have to murk a couple of these dudes. See what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't really do anything. Our smoke grenades and even our hand grenades are kind of weak. But I've had some theories about what Guardian Games is really all about. It's not about a PP measuring contest or anything like that. It's not about who's the best. It's really measuring who truly is overpowered and which class does need a rebalance just to become more viable. Now there are way more punches in the game than there are in the other 2 classes, and that's totally, you know, that's understandable. It's so fucking slow. I mean, normally by this time I'm being crowded. Here we go. Nope, see? Of course you can't get a damn fucking beat, because Hawker doesn't know how to aim. That's fine. I need to rethink my life choices. Well, I already got the bounty for the gold. This is just extra laurels. I might as well just go ahead and say fuck it for now. And not deal with it. And I'm going to go switch back to the class I know actually does damage and has work on it. Boom. Oh, that didn't probably help me very much there either, but oh well. I'm still in the room? I'm still in the room. Now these are supposed to count for 3 laurels, or they count for only 1 laurel? Come on, please get off the screen. See, now, this is something else that irritates me. It's purely aesthetics, but really, if you're a task-driven individual like myself, you do something, you want to check your progress immediately. You don't want to have to wait for it. So I'm trying to do Lost and Found, public service, and make the rounds. Okay, so Lost and Found, 31 out of 75. Now watch. That says 32, I think, or 33. It says 32. See, there's no reason, they don't need to put those scrolls right there. You know, they could totally easily, they could move that inventory history all the way down to the bottom right of the screen. You know, it's bad enough that they put our radar at the top left where PlayStation likes to go ahead and spam out notifications. And if in fact you are playing as a social gamer, oh surprise, most of us are, you're going to get notifications right over your radar. Guess what's happening if you're like relying on the radar to let you know when bad guys are coming at you? Yeah, no radar. Come on. You're so slow. Just takes forever. Different lost sector, I think. What is wrong with the tracking today? Maybe it's just this gun. Yeah, this is why I don't play. Okay, you know what? I'm done. At a point, you get tired of this bullshit. Yeah. Oh, now they all show up. These are the idiots I was waiting for. Jesus. Come on. What the hell? Is this how you changed up the lost sectors to benefit Titans and Hunters? Titans and Warlocks more? Is this what you did? Was this the big update you guys needed to do last night? Because that's exactly what it's done. It's completely blocked Hunters in this regards because we don't get that much spam out. Alright, so, note to self. Need to murder the big boss. It's not going to despawn the enemies. But at least, as long as I don't open that up, everybody should still keep proccing and staying on the map. So, we'll just rethink it, go back over again. And that is actually kind of the fun part of Destiny. But it's also very frustrating that you have to fumble through that shit, you know. And the consistency that you expect is just not going to be there. So, yay. It's going to take a while. Now, I'm wondering, why did public service count for so much more? Huh. Maybe I should read those bounties a little bit better. Okay, the bronze version is Destination Gold. Okay. Huh. That said 51. That says 102, and that's for silver. Oh, that's laurels. Okay, so that's straight up laurels right there. So getting laurels outside of playlist activities helps. Killing combatants, and then combatants also. So these two are going to be matched. That makes some sense now. Okay, we got this. Now I have to think about... I think I'm just going to go to the Trossland. No, because Tangled Short's still the flashpoint. Still want to get the flashpoint done. We'll just do that. Anyway, so I'm going to bugger off and waste some hours grinding patrols. You guys have fun, and if you figure out what's the best consistent way to get those 5 or more enemies grouped up on the tether, or you can point out where you saw I made my mistakes with that tether attempt, go ahead and hit me up with a comment. If you want to just go ahead and direct message me, I am Artist Poet, no spaces, doesn't matter if it's capped or not. On PlayStation Network, PlayStation Messenger, you know, Artist Poet, you can find me there. And hope you found the video some kind of amusement or entertainment.